If you're a musician recording yourself at home and you're getting ready to have your song be mixed and mastered, there's a lot of things I've seen go wrong in the recording stage that can really halt your progress, and you might not even know it until it's too late. My name is Jeremiah. I am a mixing and recording engineer, and today I'm going to show you my process of recording your own guitars at home. This will be the first in a 3-part video series, so be sure to subscribe to see the follow-up videos to see the entire process. Today, we are tracking a song that I wrote just for this. It is a little new metalcore song. The way that I write is all in MIDI, so I have MIDI bass and I have MIDI guitar too, and I can just change stuff around like that. And that's due to, one, I'm not the best guitar player, and two, whenever I do play guitar, I always default to writing the same hand positions. So doing it via MIDI is cool. And also, this song was originally in drop A sharp, and then I put it into drop A, and doing MIDI, you could just drop that down. But this is like the song, how it sounds with all MIDI right now. So yeah, that is all MIDI. The other benefit of writing with all MIDI is I can just export the MIDI into Guitar Pro and it gives me tabs so I can learn it. So I want to get into guitar tracking first. So the first thing I want to talk about is getting your guitar set up right. So making sure it's in tune and it's intonated well. I have the luxury that he has an Evertune on this, so I won't have any tuning or intonation issues. But that doesn't mean there aren't still any setup issues per se for tracking. I'm going to go over that here. So let me first show you my chain for tracking. We're starting off with the Clairvoyant. I got a preset and I probably tweaked it around some. I bypassed the cab and I'm going into GGG Contenders. I don't know. It's probably another preset. Jesus, I don't know. Now, we'll say when you're tracking with just DI, it doesn't really necessarily matter what you use. But you want a tone that is inspiring to play through, because if you hear something back that sounds good, you will play better. So if you think super scoop guitar tones sound awesome to play through, that might not necessarily make it to the final mix, but go ahead and track through that, because you'll play better. Let me start monitoring and see how this sounds. All right. So as I said earlier, there's still a few setup things that I want to go through. If you hear when I palm mute, right afterwards, there's this little, a resonant note afterwards. And that could be lessened if you mute the strings behind the nut here. If you have a tunematic bridge that's lifted, the strings between the bridge and where they go through the body, that can also ring out afterwards. And to mute those areas, you can use a groove gear wrap. I don't have any of those. I have these old acoustic wall panels that I bought back when I first started doing music, and I bought way too many of them. So I've been cutting them up and cutting them into smaller little pieces and just stuffing them in between these areas. All right, that took me forever. But you can hear after I palm mute now, it'll be lessened a lot, that little resonance afterwards. So right now that sounds better. There is another way to mute strings and unwanted noise. This riff, I will realistically only use the low 3 or 4 strings and maybe some high strings for some dissonant stuff. But I track riff by riff, so I know this riff I'm not really going to use anything past these low 4 strings. These strings are going to ring out if my technique isn't great, and I don't know this song, so I'm probably not going to have the best way to play it. Also, I can get a sympathetic ring, so if I hit an A down here, a higher up A, that could ring out, because it'll get that same frequency, and it will start to sympathetically ring. So I want to mute just those strings, and I have a microfiber cloth, or a little guitar rag I use for cleaning. You could use a paper towel, really. I use this because it's a little bit heavier, so if you're tuned lower with bigger gauge strings, then it does help mute more. I want to show you what it sounds like before I have anything. I'm going to turn my gate all the way off, and I'm going to mute my low strings. And then just the high strings sound like this when I like scrape up here. And that could potentially be getting into your takes, but it's just causing unwanted noise when you're moving around and stuff like that. So we're going to put our cloth on and see how it sounds after. And I just go right through the bottom here. I'm gonna keep maybe the lowest 4 open. We're probably gonna be fretting up here, so I won't have it in the way down here. Turn our gate off, mute our low strings. See, it's much quieter. So there's no way that we can have stuff ringing out that is going to be in our takes, and we don't have to worry about muting super cleanly, especially with a riff that I don't even know yet. Before, after. Alright, so we are all cleaned up with our noise issues. It should sound a lot cleaner. It sounds pretty clean to me. So although I have an Evertune, I still want to talk about tuning because it is still a issue that I come across a lot. I want to show you guys how to tune to your parts. So if you have a part that's very fast, like then a lot of guys, they tune to like a long sustained note, like kind of tune to that. But you're not holding out your note that long for that riff, so it makes sense to just go like and tune to the attack of the note. Then if you do have a long held out part, then you tune to your sustain here. Also, if your intonation isn't perfect, tune to your like notes that you're playing, because that can help a lot too. So if you're having like this like big like held out chord here, but this note is a little sharp, you could tune to this, and you could tune to that. I just want to bring that up because I do hear a lot of tuning issues when I get some files, and just tuning to the part makes such a huge difference. But yeah, let's get to tracking. I don't think I want to track to any bass, so we're just going to track to drums and click. Alright, and like I said, I have that Guitar Pro thing here, and I'm going to leave out my harmonic stuff because I don't want to worry about getting that stuff super clean. The first way to do it is to just loop it back and forth and just play it until you feel there's a good take there. So I left out my harmonic there, and I felt like that was pretty good. My timing looks good. I'll put my grid on. 1, 2, 3 for my harmonic, and these all look pretty on, and I think I played it all correctly. So then I could just drop that down to my actual take there. And I could pan these because they're going to be a stereo pair. Another way to do it is to just keep looping it until you have a ton of takes, and then just pick your best takes from there. If I have 3 or so takes, I could actually take from those takes and bring them down and like comp the best take there is possible. So I can see all my takes here, and I could get my little grabber hand and choose which one I think was better. I know the first 2 I kind of messed up. This third one in the waveform looks like it's a weak hit at the end, but I can maybe take from something else. This third one sounded good, so I want to see how this one sounds. So, sounded good. I didn't mess up any parts. I can cut out what I don't need. And I'm not going to go into editing with this, but I will go back and I'll edit these two as I see fit. Just pull these takes to my left side, and then we have a stereo pair for this little section here. just gonna punch in those two notes real quick. And I won't need context, so I'll just go to the end of the song with a click and just play those two notes. That's fine. And then I could just paste those in. It's a little bit early, so I'm gonna just nudge it. Cool. So I took off my wrap here, and I'm just going to do the harmonic stuff now. I'm going to just do loop recording all the way through and choose the take I like best. All right. I got some takes there. I think are cool. I'm not sure what one I want to do yet. The scrapes are all pretty consistent with each other, I think. And I think the differences can be kind of cool. So I'm just going to choose any random two, really. Let's hear how our stereo pair sounds without the click. And let's hear how it all sounds together. And then I think that just repeats. Maybe it's the exact same. If it is, I will copy paste it, but I'll do a little bit of change there. Yeah, so it's the same thing, but the ending is different. So if I'm copy pasting whole parts like that, I will feel no shame in copy pasting the entire part, but just swap the sides. And then the ending here, I believe, is just going to be a bass slide. Right there's notes, but I think doing a bass slide's cooler. So when I actually track bass, I will do that. But here's how it sounds with bass. And I'll go through the rest of the song and I'll edit as I go. Here I will have bass because it is a very bass driven part. I'll have my MIDI bass, and then I think it's all just opens here. Let me double check. That's good enough. I got some noise in between, but I could edit those out. And then I think I was supposed to do an open there, so I'm just gonna throw those out. All right, so we just did the bulk of the tracking. I copy pasted all my automation for like my whammy pitch effects from my MIDI guitars down there. I made some more tracks that I want to have like some certain effects on them. I'm actually gonna do one more as well. I want a lo-fi track in the center. I'll put that up the top. I'll call that guitar lo-fi C. I'll just have the same chain on it, and I'll do a filter. And the song starts with a lo-fi riff, so we'll just throw this here, and we chop off the end there, and we'll turn this down a ton. At the end, we go for octave drops. And somewhere in this chorus, I guess I'm calling it. So it's the same thing. It's just with some octave drops in there. What else we got? these HM2 tones, I was going to have certain parts. I'm going to drag down the riff, and I'm going to throw on this pedal, which is an HM2 pedal, and I'll just dial in the mix to what I like, but I'm not there yet. I just had that idea from when I had the MIDI in there. But since we have most of this track now, I'm just going to play it from start to end with our loose editing, and then I'll come back, do all the bulk of editing, and then we'll go on to bass. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to click the link if you want to learn more about tracking metal vocals from start to finish.